Hi guys, welcome back to Dimitra's Dishes. So today we're making another soup because it's really cold outside. It's the perfect time of the year to eat this delicious soup. It's super light, it's gluten-free, and it is delicious. And one of my viewers have requested that I teach how to make this. It's one of my childhood favorite comfort foods for the winter. It's called youvarlakia. Youvarlakia really are meatballs that are cooked in a lemon egg based soup. It's so delicious and so light. I'm going to take you over the ingredients and we're going to get started. We need some ground beef, chopped up onion, and I have it covered up because it was smelling up the kitchen, smelling like onion. So this is chopped up onion and garlic. It's 2 cloves of garlic and a medium onion. You can get all the recipes with the exact measurements on my website. Okay, we need some long grain basmati rice, a whole egg, some chopped up parsley, fresh parsley of course, some freshly ground pepper, a little salt, a little olive oil. That's going to be our meatball mixture, right? And then for the sauce that we're going to make, which is going to be the soup, we're going to need some water. You can use chicken stock if you want, but water works really good. Freshly squeezed lemon juice. There is no substitute for freshly squeezed lemon juice. That stuff that comes in the container is not for cooking, you guys, okay? That's just for cleaning. And there are much better things to clean with. I wouldn't even waste my money on it. Just squeeze your own lemons. They make the best juice and you can't substitute it. Back to the recipes. We need some egg yolks, a little bit of cornstarch, and some dried dill. That's it. We're going to get started now, and we're going to get started putting our meatballs together. What we're going to do is we're going to add our onions, our fresh parsley, the basmati rice. And basmati rice is really nice. It's delicate. It's the only rice I use other than if I'm making risotto or like a rice pudding. It's really nice and light. Let me put some salt in here. A little bit of freshly ground pepper. A little bit or a lot, depending on how spicy you like it. And I like my food a little bit on the spicier side, but make it as you like it. A tiny bit of olive oil, just a couple of tablespoons. This is a really, really light meal. And then let me beat this egg up a little bit. Take my ring off, and then I'm just going to mix all these ingredients up together until they're all well combined. That's it. This is all ready to go. I'm going to wash my hands, cover this with plastic wrap, and just pop this in the refrigerator just for 15 minutes so that way all the flavors can marry. And what's going to happen is it's going to also help this mixture set, so when I make the meatballs, they kind of stay together in the soup. And I'll show you the next step as soon as this is done. Okay, so my meatball meat has rested for at least 15 minutes. You could definitely make this the night before and leave it in your fridge. It'll be even better. But I'm going to begin. This is also a dish that's great. You can do it ahead of time or you can make it in a hurry. It's really, really good. Okay, so I'm going to put my water in here. So it's about 6 cups. This is going to make the soup water to come to a boil. And I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt to it. Now, like I said, you can definitely substitute chicken stock for this or chicken broth, but you really don't have to. Okay, so now while this is coming to a boil, I'm going to start making my meatballs. I forgot to take off my ring. All right, so you want like walnut-sized meatballs. Those are a good size to make. Kind of roll them around in your hand like that. All right, so this is what the meatballs look like once they're formed and ready. You see it makes a pretty big batch. So my water has just started to boil. You're just going to put one in carefully, one by one. And let me lower the heat. I'm going to cover it and let it come to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, I'm going to lower the heat to a simmer and let them simmer for 30 minutes. After that, I'm going to take the meatballs out and we're going to make the avgolemono sauce. I'm going to show you what that looks like as soon as the meatballs are done cooking for 30 minutes. I'm going to wash my hands. I'll be back in 30 minutes. So we have a few more minutes for our meatballs to be ready. In the meantime, we're going to begin making the avgolemono sauce, which is the lemony egg base for our soup. And you need about a half a cup of lemons, half a cup of lemon juice that is. Again, the lemon juice that's sold in the supermarkets that comes in those funky green containers is never, never, ever a substitute for fresh lemon juice. It's super simple to juice lemons. You don't have to have a juicer. You could use your hand and just like pick up all the like seeds and stuff. Otherwise, please use fresh lemon juice. That's my main point. So I recommend a half a cup for this. I like my soup really lemony. I'm used to it. I recommend that you start with maybe like a quarter or a third of a cup, and then like see if you want it more lemony from there, because you really can't take out the lemon once you've started. And I think I juiced more than half a cup. I'm just going to take some of this out and save it for my water. This is a little bit more. We could always add more, right? We're going to put our egg yolks in here. And that's pretty much the egg yolks are the only thing that add richness. Egg yolks are healthy. They give like a creamy consistency. They're very yummy in the soup. I'm going to put the cornstarch in here. Got some in my hair. It's about a tablespoon for this amount of soup that we're making. About a quarter teaspoon of dry dill. Now you can use dried dill here, you can use fresh parsley, you can use oregano, whatever your favorite herb is, go ahead and add that to it. We're going to add about a couple of teaspoons of olive oil, tablespoons that is, about 3. And then we're going to whisk this all up. Look how pretty that looks. Isn't that color gorgeous? Avgolemono is a really, really common base for soups and sauces, and it's used really often in Greek cooking. One of my favorite soups, other than this one, is chicken avgolemono, and that's like a lemony chicken soup with orzo that I make. It's super delicious. We serve it at the restaurant every day because it's that popular. And this, my friends, is just as good. Okay, so now the meatballs should be ready because they were cooking for about 30 minutes. I'm just going to pull them out. Okay, this is what they look like once they're done cooking for 30 minutes, simmering in here. There's still a lot of water, and you want that because you want a lot of that delicious soup that we're going to be making. So here are the meatballs. The rice is completely cooked. And so is the meat. We're going to pull them out, and I'm putting them on a clean plate. I'm using the same plate that I put the raw meatballs on, but of course I washed it. You never want to contaminate your cooked food with things that have had raw meat on them, so you always want to wash before you put your cooked food on there. So I'm going to pull these out and put them in my plate, and we're going to continue making the sauce. So some of the water, oops, lost 2. Let me get them. All right, so I'm going to turn the fire back on. And it looks like some of the liquid has evaporated, so I'm going to add just about a cup more, or a little less, of boiling hot water to this. Now, if I was to add my egg and lemon mixture to this hot water, all of these eggs would curdle. And instead of having a creamy soup, we would have a curdly soup, and you definitely don't want that. So we're going to temper these eggs, which just means that I'm going to bring their temperature up a little bit. So I'm going to take a ladle full of this stock, or broth, and I'm going to mix it up with my eggs, so that way their temperature rises a little bit before we add them to this broth. I'm going to add 1 more. That should be enough. That's good enough. It's beginning to feel pretty warm. And this will ensure, this simple step right here is called tempering. It'll ensure that the eggs do not curdle when they hit the rest of the hot liquid. Now you put it in here and you give it a mix and you cook it on a low flame or low heat, and you don't bring it to a boil necessarily. You keep it at a simmer so that way this mixture thickens and the soup is going to be nice and creamy and delicious. And make sure it has enough salt. Guys, that is so good. The good thing about using lemony soup, using lemon in the soup, is it does need a lot of salt. Lemon really compensates for the saltiness that you need in the food. It just adds that yummy, gorgeous zing of flavor. Okay, so this soup is ready, and we can put our meatballs back in here very carefully. You know what? I think I'm going to use my tongs here. Put them back in here. We're just going to leave it alone and let it simmer for just a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes. And then it'll be ready. Serve this with some crusty, delicious bread. Get the recipe. Go on www.dimitrasdishes.com. I have the complete recipes with all the measurements on there. So go on there, get this recipe, get many, many more. I think I have over 100 recipes on there. And then I'll see you guys next time. Bye, everyone. Enjoy. Stay warm.